Today on Locked On Red Wings, Patrick Kane and Ben Chiarot are back ahead of the matchup against the Vancouver Canucks. How will that affect what the lines look like?
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. I am a podcast producer for the Daily J, a WWJ News Radio podcast with Scotty's host over at Locked On Tigers, as well as a freelance journalist for the Detroit News. And happy Friday, everyone. We finally made it back to Red Wings hockey tomorrow. But for our purposes, it's back because we get to preview the game today. So happy Red Wings are back, everybody.
It's only been, a week and a half? It's been a minute.
Since the previous Wednesday. Yeah, the overtime loss to Ottawa. And man, it's been, we certainly made it. We certainly made it. Some of the podcasts of all time in between. But
some of the podcasts of all time. Does that mean we haven't played a game in February yet?
I think you might be right. That or it was like February 1st.
Yeah.
You're January 31st. This will be our first game in February.
There you go.
On the 10th here against the Vancouver Canucks. And we'll preview that obviously later in the episode. But before that, kind of as a preamble to that, the Red Wings hit the ice for the first time for a team practice since the All-Star break began. Chiarot and Kane slotted back into the lineup. We got some reassurances from Derek Lalonde on 97.1 The Ticket, an interview with Stoney and Jansen on Thursday morning as well. So we're going to kind of talk about all of that and how lines might look. Because again, we're basing this off practice 2 days ahead of an actual game. So they could have just been messing with things, seeing what clicked. But yeah, Scotty, a lot to talk about because there's some surprises with those lineups. Absolutely.
And then obviously, the game preview, the Canucks are the best team in hockey, apparently. So that's a heck of a way to kick off the first game back from the All-Star break, as well as going up against the team that's literally leading the NHL in points. So
you know what's funny about that, and I don't want to preview that too soon, but like we always brag about the times we're right? Like we were right about the Buffalo Sabres regressing, but two teams that we were dead wrong about, and like we were adamant that both Vancouver and the Winnipeg Jets were just being dumb by not embracing the rebuild, and retooling doesn't work. And here they both are at the top of the standings. Like they doubled down on the core they had, and it's worked out tremendously.
Also wrong about the Sens, but
we're okay with that. We were wrong again about Boston. Sorry, I try to combine all those words.
Let's be clear. I was the one. That's one where you and I differed. You were like, "Oh, they're gonna fall off. They're gonna regress."
I didn't say they were gonna fall off. I just was like, and I'm right. They're not gonna have a historic season again. But I thought they were gonna regress harder, losing Krejci and Bergeron. Here they are. Pavel Zacha, man, I don't know. They got 1C for them.
Impressive.
They just don't go away. They do not go away, and it drives me nuts. But anyway, Scotty, we're putting off the conversation for today. Kane's back. Patrick Kane is going to slot back in the lineup in the game against the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday. Derek Lalonde doubled down on that, reconfirmed that in a morning show interview with the Stoney and Jansen program on 97.1 The Ticket. And we already knew that was going to be happening. But the thing that's going to be interesting to me is where in the lineup he slots, considering that in the last couple weeks of Kane's injury, the last couple of weeks of January, they put DeBrincat back on the top line with Larkin and Raymond, where he began the beginning of the year, and that line was finding chemistry. So now with Kane back, where do you put those two back together, or do you kind of bring Kane with a different line and try to elevate that line? Because remember, the second line without Kane was struggling in his absence. Comfer and DeBrincat just weren't getting going. Now what happens? Well, we have some lineups to base some of our conversation off.
Yeah, for sure. And that's obviously going to be the main talking point here. I do think that the conversation is interesting. I also think that because of the injury history and like fresh coming off of an injury, that there might be a little bit, I guess my point is, if he's kind of like eased into it, that wouldn't shock me. If they took a game or two, nothing crazy, but if they took a game or two to kind of make sure that he was confident in himself on the ice, and the team was confident that he, was going to be out there. That wouldn't shock me. So maybe game one looks different, but also it's been a while, and the team obviously just had a lot of games off. And if they think that he was, maybe ready a week and a half ago, then like this is all kind of extra. So maybe not. Maybe he just goes out there and they put him right back on the second line. But that's something to maybe keep an eye out for too.
I think he goes right back to the second line, and that's what they did with him in practice on Thursday. Sam Stockton of the Hockey News, the Detroit Red Wings beat writer for the Hockey News, tweeted out the lines at practice on Thursday, and they went as followed: Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat, Comfer, Kane, and Perron, Kopp, Fisher, Rasmussen, Veleno, Fabry, Kostin, and Sprong as the 13th forward. And I have thoughts about that, but I'm not panicking, right, Scotty, because this is a Thursday practice and they're probably just messing around to see what works. But I have no problem with keeping DeBrincat and Raymond together with Larkin, because that line was clicking at the end of January. And obviously that's the line that DeBrincat got off to that hot start with at the start of the season as well. Eventually they cooled off. I recognize that. But the question becomes, with Kane being a pass first guy, he can score. Kane being a pass first guy, Comfer being a pass first guy too, who do you put to drive goal scoring on that line? And it seems here, at least in Thursday's practice, they go with David Perron, which I understand to a degree.
I don't mind the Perron fit there. I think, well, that's kind of the back and forth, right? Because Kane and DeBrincat obviously have the chemistry that everybody has been talking about since Kane, signed here. And that would be something. It's just a unique position to be in, where earlier in the year, pre-Kane, it was very like, how do we divvy up the scoring so that it's the lines aren't so top heavy, and then the depth scoring really got into its own and came into its own, and that issue, I guess we'll call it, kind of solved itself. But now you're at a position where you want DeBrincat to. I think DeBrincat's the key. Really, is my main point. I think he's the highlighted player in this entire thing. He's the one that you want to find whatever line combination, situation, deployment, etc., is going to get Alex DeBrincat to get the goal scoring production that you wanted to get out of him since the beginning of the year. Whatever that you believe that entails is the key for everything, and everything else, Kane included, falls into place around, I think, how to best utilize Alex DeBrincat. I think that he's the key more than Kane is in this discussion.
Yeah, like, you absolutely have got to get DeBrincat going. And so putting him on whatever line is going to get him going the most consistently is going to be, like you said, the key. On one hand, putting Perron on second line with Comfer and Kane, because I think that for the first 2/3 of that second line, I think that's a no-brainer, right? Like, Raymond and Larkin play super well together, so you're not going to break that up. Kane and Comfer, Comfer is your 2C right now. Kane is a top 6 forward. Those two guys are going to go together. It's that last piece of that second line that is the big question mark. And like I said, both Comfer and Kane are pass first guys. So I understand the mindset with Perron being on the second line, because he kind of like DeBrincat and Sprong, and even Fabry to an extent. Those are goal first guys, and Sprong, Perron, and DeBrincat all can score from that seam one-time pass, right? Like last year, that was Perron's role. He was the one-time guy on the power play and a phenomenal puck protector. My big concern, though, is the speed of the second line, because while Kane's not necessarily slow, right? Like, once he gets up to speed, he's fine and his acceleration looks fine. He's not the fastest player in the world, and he's 35. Perron is notably slow, has been his entire career. So, like, where's this? There's got to be some speed on this line. Comfer's not slow, but he's not, in my mind, particularly fast either. Yeah. He's fine, but I'm a little concerned about the speed of that line. But I guess with what that line's trying to do is they might want to be a possession-heavy line, right? You get the puck in the offensive zone. Perron can protect. Kane can protect the puck like crazy too. It's just getting into the offensive zone I'm concerned with. So I was surprised that they didn't go with Fabry, or I talk about how Sprong is really good in a sheltered role, right, in the bottom 6. But if you talk about somebody who can replace DeBrincat's shot with Kane, that would be a guy I would peg too.
But do any of those guys fix the speed problem you have? Like,
I'm building up to that.
Okay.
Joe Veleno as a dark horse candidate if you want to add speed, because that guy can play wing and he hustles. He's super fast, and he has an underrated little bit of a finishing touch, not to the level, obviously, of the guys I just listed. But if you want to really make that top six, have a guy who will get into the corners, win the puck battles, win the races. I mean, Joe Veleno can set the pace for that line on the wing. But like I said, there's give and take with every single player I listed. So I don't disagree with having Perron on the top six. And it is just a Thursday practice, so things can change. But it is interesting to see that that's where that's who they've chosen, at least right now, to play on that line.
Sure. I know we got to get to a break here. I think if you're not going to go Veleno, and if you do have a lack of speed on a line, then I do think that the puck protector is probably the way to go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a match made in heaven, but if you're comparing and contrasting it to other options, if you're not going to fix the speed with one player, then yeah, you go with the guy that you know that can protect the puck and try to get zone entries more that way.
They're going to have to be very reliant, I think, on carrying the puck into the zone, which Kane does very well.
I guess my
you're not going to win races on dumps and chases.
100%. I guess my other point is I don't think replacing flipping Perron and DeBrincat changes that too terribly much. I don't think DeBrincat is not going to get you like game-changing speed, at least certainly faster than Perron, and probably faster than anyone else on that line, I guess. But you know what I mean? That's not game breaking. And then when it comes to zone entry, like again, like that, I guess my point is you can mix and match a lot of guys. I'm not sure that the issues you're laying out are being fixed just with like one swap of one player.
Again, like I'm not trying to say that any of these are right or wrong. I'm just trying to point out.
Sure. No, for sure.
The point I'm trying to
playing devil's advocate more than anything.
Yeah, I know. The point I'm trying to get across is that you don't have a set guy for that that second line left wing.
Sure.
It could be a rotation until they settle on it. Right now, it looks like Perron is going to be the solution, at least by Thursday's practice. But it could just you might see a few more guys rotate in until they figure.
Well, what if DeBrincat and Kane are back together? What if they just go, you know what, that we're gonna try to get Cat going that way and put him back with Kane? Then you have top wing opened up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, then you have the same issue. And I mean, we saw Perron spend a lot of time on that wing.
For sure.
So we'll see. It was just a conversation I wanted to have because it's interesting.
100%. I agree.
We got to get to a break. When we come back, we talk about power play, and also Ben Chiarot comes back, and then we'll finally get to the preview of the Vancouver Canucks. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, Scotty, you're burning what?
Rubber, not cash, baby.
Oh, yeah. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, let's move into not talking about the power play, because that's another thing that's obviously going to change with Patrick Kane coming back. And Sam Stockton, again, tweeted out the power play lines as well. And the power play lines as it stands in PP1 is really interesting to me because you have Comfer as your net front, Perron and Fabry on the wings along the boards, and then Larkin as your bumper, which is perfectly fine, and Gostisbehere at the point. Whereas power play line 2 is Veleno as your net front, Cat and Kane on the wings, and Raymond as your bumper, and Cider as your point guy. Sure. I love power play 2. I don't know how I feel about power play 1, and I'll share it on the screen so people can keep track of what I'm talking about, as well as, Scotty, who I just threw everyone's names at too. So So here you go, buddy. And here are the power play lines for the people. And Sam Stockton, great follow, Hockey News beat writer for the Detroit Red Wings.
Great follow. Yeah, so I really like two as well. I mean, you want to talk about a good mixture of, I don't know, skill and speed. That Veleno, DeBrincat, Raymond, Kane, Seider group is electric. I mean, that is a very, very, very exciting combination of shooting, passing, and speed all around. That's. I'm like, oh, I kind of like that better than really anything. I don't know, maybe anything else we've seen out of the power play lately, as far as just like combinations goes. That's really exciting. And then the top, obviously Ghost. We know that that's a role that he can excel in. And his January was very up and down. I think would be to how to put it nicely. Obviously, anything with Larkin out there is going to drive offense. I think. I don't know. How do you feel about Comfort at the top there?
Yeah, that's one. That's why the top power play unit's really interesting to me. And I guess we hate the word interesting. I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but it makes me curious how it's going to play.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Comfort being the net front guy, I suppose. Because you don't want just like the big thing in the NHL for a long time was to just put a giant body down there to deflect shots.
Sure.
But nowadays, you want somebody who can also stick handle, and because they're going to be the first person to get behind the net and win the puck battles. And he's a good pass first guy who we saw him with an extra man already. It's not like he's unfamiliar with the position. I'm more concerned with the wings as well, because while Perron's a phenomenal puck protector, Fabry's a goal scorer too. Larkin's a great bumper. He'll draw players in away from those wings.
No issue there for sure.
It feels like a power play unit we have yet to see. And so I'm really curious, like, who's going to be the main puck distributor on this power play? Because obviously on power play 2, it's going to be Kane. On power play 1, your best puck distributor, which is Dylan Larkin, is the guy in the middle. So he's going to have the least room to do anything as well.
Yeah.
He's going to be the guy that is just
it's a situation where, right, I agree. That's a situation where you could see some rotation as well, and like Ghost could like weirdly kind of. We've seen him do it before, right? I mean, it would cause you again. You would need to rotate, and you would need to have someone back, obviously. But like we've seen Ghost kind of step up and move the puck horizontally on special teams before this season. That might be something, I guess. I don't know. I feel like the same again, I don't really want to call them issues, but like the same concerns, I guess, that you had with line 2 in the previous segment is like kind of how I feel about that top power play unit as well. It's just there's certainly like power play talent there, and anything with Larkin out there is going to give you a decent chance, I think. But there's I like the how dynamic the second one is. A lot.
I
more.
literally have no notes on the second power.
Right, that's just electric. That's awesome. Veleno, DeBrincat, Raymond, Kane, Seider. Again, for those who aren't watching, that's beauty.
Well, like think about it, right? Like Veleno, notably this season, we've mentioned it 1,000 times, really good at winning those puck battles. So if that puck ends up behind the net, he's really good at winning those. He's fast. He's gonna be the first one there. He's going to fight for that puck down low and screen goaltenders. DeBrincat, obviously, we know, big shooter. He's got in a dry spell, but on a power play, you want him on that wing. Kane, great puck distributor. Seider can shoot the puck. He misses the net a lot, but he's really good at handling the puck on the blue line. He's got great vision. Raymond's a great playmaker. Like, I have no notes on the second power play, but it's that top power play that I'm really curious.
How would you feel about Sprong instead of one of the wings on the top one?
I mean, I would have to have Perron be replaced with Sprong.
I would also choose Perron, but I was kind of given the flexibility of either.
Yeah, I would just, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about power play 1. I'll have to see it in action. I don't have a problem with.
Well, again, this is practice Thursday, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff that can move around.
And like looking at the positives, right? Like you have 3 defensemen you can play on the power play. It's going to be Gostisbehere, Seider, occasionally Woolman, but I don't know if Woolman can quarterback a power play.
Right.
Like Seider and Gostisbehere can. I'm fine with Gostisbehere being on the power play. Perron as a shooter is fine and a puck protector. Larkin is your obvious bumper. I think when you boil it down, I think it's Comfer as net front and Fabry as the other bumper on that line, like in that combination, in that order, that I'm just really curious about how it'll play out. I can't tell you guys how it's going to play out because we haven't seen it. So you're gonna have to wait and see.
That'll be something to keep an eye on if those stick together through Saturday.
But real quick, Scotty, because there's not really much of a conversation about it. Obviously, Chiarot is back as well, and we got the defensive pairs for back to normal. It's Wallman, Seider, Chiarot, Petrie, Gostisbehere, Mata, and Hull as the extra skater. No notes.
That's what we expected. So,
and I will say this: I'm happy Chiarot's back.
Same.
I didn't think after last year, I didn't think I'd ever say that. But I'm happy that Chiarot's back because while Mata and Petrie did a good job together, you saw the uptick in difficulty and minutes for guys like Wallman and Seider, playing. There were some nights where Seider played 25 minutes a night.
Yeah.
I mean, there were days where Mata played 20 minutes a night too, moonlighting on that second pair. But Mata is best used in that third pair, and and that's not a slight. Like he makes that third. Think about how bad that third pair was without Mata back there.
Right.
They need him on that third pair. So I'm really happy that Chiarot's back.
Yeah, agreed.
Awesome. We'll take another quick break, and when we return, we'll just preview the game against the Vancouver Canucks. So stay tuned to Locked On Red Wings. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is the matching and hiring platform with over 350 global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality candidates compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. So right now, go to Indeed.com/lockedon and show your support by saying that you heard about Indeed through this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Also got to talk to you guys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Scotty.
Indeed, you do.
Indeed, you do. Also got to talk to you guys today about Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this. Now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right. No cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. The offer is good through April 30th. Get started at Robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fee applies. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, we got a game to talk about. How exciting is that?
It's very exciting. It's about time.
Welcome back, Red Wings hockey, baby. Vancouver Canucks, one of, if not, the best team in the league right now, right?
Lead the league in points.
Lead the league in
couple, too. There's only two teams that I think are over 70. They have 73.
Yeah.
So, and Boston is 71. So
they are they've been a dynamite hockey team this year. They're led in points, obviously, by guys like Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes. They've been getting phenomenal goaltending as well in the back end. This team is doing a little bit of everything for the Vancouver Canucks. And if you're a Red Wings team that is looking to make the playoffs, you got to beat teams like the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers after that. And then again, the Vancouver Canucks. Like, it's a really tough February slate. And to stay in the playoff race, you have got to finish February above 500. And it starts with Vancouver. Because what do we always say, Scotty? To beat the best or be the best, you got to beat the best. And this is just one of those instances.
Yeah, 100%, man. This is a really, really, really good hockey team. Um, they are second in goals scored a game. They are third in goals against a game. So they score the second most goals and give up the third fewest amount of goals. They are third in team save percentage, seventh in power play, 16th in penalty kill. I guess if you want to find something they're not like incredible at, that would be one thing. So that's something we can kind of keep an eye on as we talked and kind of broke down the power play units. That will probably be a key if you can get some power play opportunities and put the puck in the back of the net there. That'll probably go a long way. But yeah, this team, they have goal differential a game, right? So just like the straight up just goal amount of goals you scored minus the amount of goals you've given up on a game-to-game average, and they comfortably lead the NHL in that. They are first. There is over a goal difference on average between how many goals they score a game and give up a game. That is crazy impressive. That's wild. So yeah, this is an incredible. You listed some of the players, obviously. Hughes is already like well into the mid 50s just in assists, nonetheless in points. Yeah, this is a truly phenomenal hockey team this year. And like I said, I think that some power play success will probably go a long way, but you're not going to get through this one without a nice performance from Alex Lyon, which I guess kind of transitions into one of the last things besides a preview to bring up, where Newsy was pretty clear that Alex Lyon is the starter of this team going forward. And we've kind of known that just off of an assumption basis for a while, but hearing it straight from, the source itself is pretty reassuring and cool to hear too.
Yeah, he said that also in the same interview where he talked about Kane being back, that he was, the goalie for the time being, and they'd sprinkle Husso in there.
Yeah, sprinkle Husso in was the exact word. Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's great confirmation to know that they're obviously going to continue to play the better goalie, because that's what winning teams do, right? Like, I know that they wanted Husso to be the guy, but he just hasn't been the guy, and Lyon has been the guy. It's really that simple, right? But yeah, JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, all over 60 points so far this year. Brock Besser with 54. Phil Pronik.
Brock Besser already has a 30-goal season at the break, man.
Yeah. Phil Pronik, 36 points in 50 games. He's fifth on the team in points. Only has 3 goals, though. This is a guy that we knew is like a goal-scoring defenseman, but he's kind of riding the coattail. I don't want to dismiss all of that he's done, right? Like, he's had a really nice season. That's great. But he's playing on a line with Quinn Hughes, and, like, you just feed Quinn Hughes, and they just go, right? Or you feed Elias Pettersson, you just go. Like, what a great situation for Phil Pronik. I'm really glad that it's worked out for him in this regard.
He can play quarterback a little bit back there too.
Yeah.
I mean, having high assist totals, he was a good puck driver for sure.
Yeah. Also a couple of one stat that you didn't mention that I really like is we talked yesterday about how the Wings were like 4th fewest in high danger shots against, but like 29th in high danger shot or low danger shots against. Well, with the Vancouver Canucks, it's the opposite. They are 3rd most in high danger shots against and 8th fewest in low danger shots against. Wow. So they are really good at stopping the shots from outside, but they allow a lot of shots. This is at 5-on-5, obviously, a lot of shots from inside really dangerous areas. So that would lead me to believe that they're very heavily reliant on the performances of Casey DeSmith and Thatcher Demko in net, who, again, I mean, Thatcher Demko, one of the best goalies in the league this year. I think he's got a 926 save percentage. And Casey DeSmith's got 911 as well. So, I'm really curious to see if the Red Wings, who are really good at setting up in the offensive zone at those east and west passes and being careful about the shots they take, can capitalize on, the fact that they allow a lot of high danger shots. That's really like the one area when you look at this roster, these two rosters going against each other, where I'm like, okay, maybe that is where the Red Wings can capitalize.
Sure.
But I mean, this Vancouver Canucks team is so good, but that doesn't mean anything, right? Any given day.
Yeah, dude, Demko's numbers this year are nutty.
Oh, he's gonna be in the Vezina conversation.
920 save percentage, 243 goals against average. He just on like a pure like win and loss basis, 36 games played and 27 wins at the All-Star break is pretty nuts for a goaltender. That's wildly impressive. So yeah, hats off to him for sure. But no, that's a great point, especially given the the conversation we had yesterday about the Wings offense, right? Like they don't have super high shot totals, but they score a lot of goals that actually could line up weirdly really well. Like we're not used to just getting pucks on net from the outside and just kind of, like making sure we just have high shot totals. The Wings have scored with lower shot totals as a team all year anyway. So that, you know what I mean? Like that actually could play into the Wings' favor a little bit. That, and again, the penalty kill for Vancouver is league average. It's not bad even. It's like their worst thing they're at is being league average at something. So that could be something with the Wings having a pretty good power play this year that they could try and take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, I think that does it, right? Like, I'm really excited. Kane's going to be back. Happy Chiarot will be back. Glad Lion is the #1 goalie, but
yeah, all good news. Just happened to go up against the team that's literally at the top of the NHL first game back.
But like I said,
we ball. So
we ball.
Kind of fine.
Totally what I was going to say. We're back with a new episode tomorrow. Same time, same place. See your team every day.
Every day.